Welcome to Gridiron Ring, a sports talk show covering football and professional wrestling. I'm your host, the Encyclopedia of Sports, Cool Hand Luke 96. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Gridiron Ring on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and also go check out Gridiron Ring's website. All the links are in the description below of this video, so go check those links out. My Twitter and Instagram link is also in the description below. So go follow me on Twitter at CoolHandLuke96 and on Instagram at LGoddessart96. Some audio today for the listeners, so thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoy. I'm going to do both college football and NFL predictions in the same video this week. So college football week 7 predictions with a week 6 recap, and then NFL week 6 predictions with a week 5 recap. But before I get into that, I want to say I was having some technical difficulties once again with Periscope. I know I said last week in my 3 videos for college football, NFL, and the WWE Super Showdown preview predictions that I was going to be on at 5 a.m. Eastern Time here in the United States for WWE Super Showdown, as the WWE went down under to Melbourne, Australia for that event. But late last Friday night, I was still having some technical difficulties with Periscope, and I did put out a tweet, so hopefully you saw that. If you follow Gridiron Ring on Twitter, that's at GridRing18. If you don't follow, links down below in the description. Be sure to go follow. But I think everything is going to be all right here from here on out. I don't know what the hell the problem was. Everything else that I have set up when I do a live reaction video on Periscope was working perfectly fine. I don't think with everything that I have set up affected Periscope, because I've done it for almost 8 months now. So I was going to do it the third Friday of September, the 21st, when Penn State played Illinois. I was going to be on Periscope doing live reactions, play-by-play of that game. Having had some technical difficulties then, I'm like, all right, this is the first time this has happened. I'll give it some time, let it regroup, refresh, and so I took 2 weeks off. There were some games on that I wanted to do, and I was going to, come back this past Saturday morning for WWE Super Showdown, but last Friday night I tested it out, and it still wasn't working correctly, but I have since then tested it out once again, and everything seems to be working fine now. So like I said, I don't know what the hell the problem was, but it seems to be working fine now. So I will be getting back in the groove of things now, doing live reactions, play-by-play of college and NFL football games and WWE pay-per-views. So be sure to follow me at CoolHandLuke96 on Periscope. That's on Periscope. My Twitter and Periscope handles are the same. So if you got confused there, they are the same. So I'll be on Periscope next Tuesday, October the 16th for SmackDown 1000. And then the following week, the weekend after that, so 2 weeks after that, WWE Evolution is Sunday, October 28th. And there's also a football game on that day. Obviously, the NFL owns Sundays, has for quite some time, and they will continue to do that. But the Saints and Vikings will play that Sunday night in a rematch of the Minneapolis Miracle game from the NFL playoffs this past year in the NFC divisional round. So I'll be doing both of those on Periscope. Haven't looked at any other games on the schedule for college or the NFL up to this point. So, next weekend I might. This weekend I won't. I will be in Happy Valley for the Michigan State Penn State game. And then next Tuesday, like I said, October 16th, SmackDown 1000. And then the following weekend, like I said, don't know because I haven't looked at the schedule, but then the weekend after that will be WWE Evolution and the Saints-Vikings game that Sunday night. So I'll be flipping back and forth between the two of those. So hopefully you tune in on Periscope. That's at CoolHandLuke96. So be sure to follow me on Periscope. And I'll see everybody on Periscope Tuesday, October 16th for SmackDown 1000. If you guys have any questions, comments, let me know down in the comment section below. So as I said, I'm going to do college and NFL predictions all in one video this week. As I said, it's audio, so thanks for listening, not watching. Hopefully you enjoy. So week 6 last weekend for college football, 8 top 25 teams went down. I went 16-8 in the 24 games that I predicted, so I'm 94-42 on the year. I started slow in my predictions last week, but I finished strong. Last Friday night, Georgia Tech defeated Louisville 66-31. The Yellow Jackets had 542 yards rushing with the triple option. Utah State went to Provo, defeated the BYU Cougars 45-20. Alabama went to Fayetteville, defeated the Arkansas Razorbacks 65-31. The Crimson Tide, they're 6-0 for the 4th straight season. They are also averaging 56 points a game. I think right now, and I think a lot of people can agree with me on this, Alabama is in a league of their own at the moment. South Carolina hung on after a rain delay with under 2 minutes to play at home against Missouri and defeated the Tigers 37-35. Michigan beat Maryland for the 4th straight year at home 42-21. The Wolverines, they host Wisconsin on Saturday night. College game day will be there. It is a top 15 showdown in Ann Arbor in the Big House. Michigan is ranked 12th, Wisconsin 15th after losing to BYU a couple weeks ago at home, but they have not lost since. Michigan has not lost since week 1 in South Bend to Notre Dame. Notre Dame is still undefeated. They defeated Virginia Tech last weekend by a score of, where is that at here in my notes? Notre Dame defeated Virginia Tech 45-23. They had a big second half. It was 17-16 at halftime. But the big one in the Big Ten this weekend, and I'll get to that game here in a minute, is Michigan and Wisconsin. Northwestern, another Big Ten game. Northwestern defeated Michigan State and East Lansing 29-19. Northwestern, they play Nebraska at home this weekend, and Michigan State, as I said, comes to Happy Valley to play Penn State. Texas defeated Oklahoma 48-45, 93 combined points in this game on Saturday, this past Saturday in the Red River Rivalry. That's the most points in the series history. Texas is now 3-0 versus ranked opponents this season. NC State defeated Boston College 28-23. The Eagles have now lost 2 of their last 3 games. A.J. Dillon did not play in this game. We'll have to see if he can make a go at it this weekend as Louisville goes to Chapel Hill to play Boston College. Florida defeated LSU at home in the Swamp 27-19. Dan Mullins making Florida and the Swamp great again. LSU still in it though after losing this past weekend. They are still ranked high in the top 25, but their schedule does not get any easier. They have to play Georgia this weekend. Still got Alabama, Mississippi State. As I said last week, their schedule and just now is not going to be getting any easier. Iowa, Minnesota 48-31. Clemson defeated Wake Forest 63. Miami, Florida defeated the Florida State Seminoles 28-27 in that rivalry game. The Hurricanes, they scored 21 unanswered and came back and won. Tallahassee's getting hit really, really hard right now with Hurricane Michael, as Hurricane Michael has reached the U.S., and we'll have to see if that will affect any college football games or NFL games this upcoming weekend. But Miami beat Florida State. They came back and defeated the Seminoles at home this past Saturday afternoon. San Diego State went to Boise, defeated the Broncos 19-13. That's a big win for the Aztecs in the Mountain West. Colorado defeated Arizona State 20-21. Ohio State put up 49 on Indiana, 49-26. A&M, Texas A&M that is, defeated Kentucky in overtime at home in College Station 20-14. Georgia defeated Vanderbilt 41-13. Mississippi State got back to their winning ways, defeated a 8th-ranked Auburn team at home in Stark Vegas 23-9. This said 8 top 25 teams lost, 3 of those teams in the top 10. Washington defeated UCLA 31-24. The Bruins, they're 0-5 for the first time since 1943. Wisconsin defeated Nebraska 41-24. Nebraska, the Cornhuskers, they're also 0-5. They have never started 0-6. They play Northwestern this week. I think both UCLA and Nebraska will pick up their first wins of the season this upcoming weekend, though. UCLA, they play... Who's UCLA play? I know I have that. They go to Cal to play the Cal Golden Bears. And then, as I said, Nebraska goes to Northwestern to play the Wildcats. I think both those teams will pick up their first wins of the season. I don't think anybody would have thought Scott Frost or Chip Kelly would have started 0-5 with UCLA or Nebraska. Notre Dame, as I said, went to Blacksburg, defeated Virginia Tech 45-23. Utah defeated Stanford. Cardinal lose for the second straight week. Fall of the top 25. They lost to the Utes 40-21. Fresno State defeated Nevada 21-3. And then Hawaii defeated Wyoming 17-13. As I said, 16-8 last week in those 24 games that I predicted, that I just recapped. And now I'll get into my Week 7 predictions. Today is Wednesday, October the 10th, 2018. There was a game last night on a Tuesday in the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt as they're calling it. Appalachian State, who I saw play Week 1 here in Happy Valley, they almost beat the Penn State Lions. They defeated Arkansas State last night 35-9. Texas Tech goes to Fort Worth to play TCU in the Big 12 on Thursday night. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's a coin flip game. Both these teams have had decent years up to this point. Texas Tech lost Ole Miss Week 1. TCU lost to Ohio State and Texas in back-to-back weeks. Both of these teams can put up points. Both of these teams are capable of winning big games. This is a big game for both of these teams, especially TCU, especially after starting 2-0, going into the Ohio State game, expecting to win that, and then you lose to Texas the following week on the road in Austin. 3 losses come the middle of October. You know, you're setting yourself up for a 6-6, 7-5 season with a lot of football left to be played. But I think TCU finds a way to win in this Big 12 game on Thursday night between the Texas Tech Red Raiders and the TCU Horned Frogs. Air Force goes to San Diego State. Big wins for both teams last week. Air Force defeated Navy, and as I said, San Diego State defeated Boise State. I think San Diego State wins for the second straight week, so give me the Aztecs over Air Force. Arizona goes to Utah. Arizona, really disappointing so far this year, if you ask me, after heading into the season with a lot of high expectations with new head coach Kevin Sumlin and quarterback Khalil Tate. This game for Utah, they very well could drop an egg because they picked up a big win last week against Stanford. They're playing at home, though, Friday night. Give me Utah over Arizona. Tennessee goes to Auburn. This game, along with the Alabama game, Alabama, they play Missouri Saturday night at 7 o'clock. Those two games could very well be affected by Hurricane Michael because the hurricane is hitting the panhandle of Florida and making its way north and then east into the Carolinas again. So the Carolinas will be getting hit with rain, into the Virginia area as well, and then back out to sea, back out to the Atlantic Ocean. So Tennessee, Auburn, Missouri, Alabama could get hit, because it's Wednesday right now. Could affect the games, as I said. But if these games are to be played, give me Auburn over Tennessee and give me Alabama over Missouri. Tigers, I think they'll bounce back after losing to Mississippi State last week, and then Alabama, they're going to put up at least 50 points on Missouri. Drew Lock, he might have 250, 300 yards passing. He's a good quarterback, and Alabama's had some problems in the secondary so far this year. And Nick Saban, he's getting mad because he is a defensive-minded coach, more so in the secondary. But Alabama, they're playing at home. They're tough to beat at home. So give me Auburn over Tennessee and Alabama over Missouri. Florida goes to Vandy. The Gators over the Commodores I have written down there. So give me Florida over Vanderbilt. Iowa over Indiana. Hawkeyes over the Hoosiers. They go to Bloomington. Minnesota, another Big Ten game. Minnesota goes to Columbus to play Ohio State. Urban Meyer only has 3 home losses in 7 years. Give me Ohio State. Nebraska, as I said, they go to Northwestern. Talked about that and UCLA Cal game a little bit ago. I think both Nebraska and UCLA, will pick up their first wins of the 2018 season. Duke goes to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. I am not going to pick against Georgia Tech anytime soon. I learned from that last week. I knew about the triple option. I knew that they could run the ball. They always can. I thought Louisville would have put up a tougher fight, and they did late, but it was too late, and they lost, as I said, to the Yellow Jackets 63-31. In Duke, they were ranked in the top 25 there last week or the week before, and they lost. I think it's when they played Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech bounced back after losing to Old Dominion that week. So give me Georgia Tech over Duke. This will probably be a close game, but the running game of Georgia Tech will help them defeat the Blue Devils of Duke. Louisville, as I said, goes to Boston College. Boston College, I think, will win if A.J. Dillon plays. If he does not, this is contingent on that. If Dillon does not play for the Eagles, give me Louisville, but I'm going to pick Boston College. Pitt goes to Notre Dame. This might be the only week that I'll ever root for Pitt, so hail to Pitt, but I have Notre Dame written down to win because they're just a better team. Notre Dame will probably rout Pitt on Saturday afternoon in South Bend. Michigan State will come here to Happy Valley to play Penn State on Saturday at 3:30. This is the Battle of the Land Grant Trophy. These two teams have played normally at the end of the year for years, up until 2010, I think, was the last year that they played at the end of the year until 2014, and then also in 15 and 16. But then last year they started playing each other in the middle of the season, and this game is also in the middle of the season. As you can tell, it's only the middle of October. But Battle for the Land Grant Trophy, normally a good rivalry game. Last year's game up in East Lansing, it was a noon kick on Fox Sports 1. Penn State was coming off, a tough loss, a 1-point loss to Ohio State on the road in Columbus. You got to go to East Lansing then. Big Ten, you always have tough games, no matter where the game's at. Could be at home, could be on the road in Lincoln, Minneapolis, Ann Arbor, East Lansing, Columbus, Evanston, West Lafayette, Bloomington, Madison. I don't want to leave anybody out. Piscataway, Maryland, College Park, Iowa City, Champaign. I think I got everybody. Yeah, Happy Valley, of course. But last year's game, as I said, was a noon kick. Penn State got out to an early lead, and then a thunderstorm rolled into town, 3.5 hour rain delay. That type of thing you just don't plan for. Penn State ended up losing on a game-winning field goal because Penn State had the momentum going into that, and then Michigan State had the momentum coming out of the rain delay for some odd reason. And Michigan State, they won, so Penn State's trying to get some revenge. They tried to get revenge on Ohio State a couple weeks ago. They lost to them, lost to the Buckeyes for the second straight year by 1 point again, but that's why they play the games, folks. It's not decided on paper. It's 2 weeks ago. It was a stinger. It was tough. Both these losses last year for Penn State to Ohio State and Michigan State were tough as well. They tried to get back against Ohio State 2 weeks ago. They couldn't. Let's see if the Nittany Lions can at least get one of the two losses that they had last year back this weekend as they host Michigan State. So I think everybody knows who I'm going to pick for this. Give me Penn State over Michigan State. Hopefully it's a really, really good, close game. Georgia goes to Baton Rouge to play LSU. This is one of two good games this weekend, if you ask me. This and then the Wisconsin-Michigan game. LSU, they're hard to beat at home. I don't care what time the game is. Yeah, Troy went into Baton Rouge last year at night, and everybody said LSU, they're unstoppable at night at home. Troy beat them. So anybody can beat LSU in Baton Rouge. LSU, they're coming off a close loss to Florida in the Swamp. Georgia routed Vandy last week. It's going to be close. It's going to come down to the last 2 minutes of the game like the LSU-Florida game did last weekend. But give me the Bulldogs over the Tigers. Plus, dogs are better than cats anyways, right? A&M, Texas A&M goes to South Carolina. South Carolina, the Gamecocks, they got lucky last weekend. Give me Texas A&M to win 2 in a row. Washington goes to Oregon. The Huskies, they have won the last two. What do I have written down here? Yeah, the Huskies, they have won the last two combined by a score of 108-24. That's just ridiculous. That's like Michigan, Maryland the past 3 years, and then Michigan put it on Maryland again this past weekend to win 4 in a row. So can Washington win 3 in a row against Oregon? It's going to be tough. This game's at 3:30 ESPN, ABC, depending on where you're at. Oregon, before these last two games that Washington has won, Oregon won the previous 12. And the last time Washington won 2 in a row against Oregon won on that 12-game win streak. Oregon, they should have defeated Stanford a couple weeks ago. I know I picked Stanford in that game, but they should have beat Stanford. I think Oregon, they're going to upset Washington. This game's going to be close. I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm not going to be able to watch the Georgia-LSU game, Pitt Notre Dame. I'm not going to be able to watch a lot of these games on Saturday. I'll probably catch the Wisconsin-Michigan game late Saturday night, plus all these other West Coast games. I'll get into the other 3 that I have written down here. Yeah, 4. So yeah, give me Oregon over Washington. Colorado, USC also in the Pac-12. USC, they're 12-0 all time, dating back to 1927 against the Buffs. Colorado, they are 5-0 though, but USC, they're playing at home. You give me the Trojans. Fight on. Boise State goes to Nevada, Mountain West action. Boise State, Nevada, Wyoming, Fresno State. Give me Boise State and give me Fresno State. The other West Coast game that I'll put in here right now is Hawaii and BYU. Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors come to the mainland for the second or third time this year. They played Colorado State week 1. I've had them a lot, predicting them a lot this year because they're 4-1 last I checked. And Hawaii, they're going to go to Provo to play BYU. BYU, who's the team I said? Oh, Georgia Tech's going to be my new BYU that I'm not going to be able to ever pick against ever again because I pick against them one week and then they prove me wrong and win. BYU, past 2 years and this year, it's like that every week. I'll pick them, they'll lose. I'll pick against them the next week then, and then they'll win. So it's a little hard to figure out if I really want them, if I really want to pick them to win. But I don't think they will. Hawaii just too good this season. So Hawaii over BYU. Baylor goes to Austin to play Texas. Texas, they're rolling so far this year. Who knows if they wouldn't have lost to Maryland week 1 in Landover, Maryland. Texas would probably be one of the top 4 teams in the country at the moment because they would be undefeated at 6-0, especially after coming off a big win against rival Oklahoma. I think this game will be close. Baylor can put up points. All these Big 12 teams can put up points, especially Kansas as well this year too. They won 1 or 2 in a row, and that was it. But that was good for them because before that they hadn't won a game in like 100 years. But Texas, they'll pull away late, so give me Texas over Baylor. Some American Athletic Conference action, the AAC, not the ACC. Central Florida goes to Memphis, and Temple goes to Navy. Basically a home game for Temple. Now that I look at it, Temple's located in Philly, and Navy's in Maryland there, in Annapolis. Give me Central Florida on the road, and give me Navy at home. Already went over Missouri, Alabama, UCLA, Cal as well. Some other Big 12 action. West Virginia goes to Ames to play Iowa State. Expect another big game from Will Grier. This is at night though in Ames. I believe this is at 7 or 7:30 Saturday night. Mountaineers, I think you guys should be on upset alert this weekend. Iowa State, normally whatever night Big 12 game you have during the year at home, 9 times out of 10 they upset whoever they're playing. It's happened to Oklahoma before, Oklahoma State, Texas, all the other powerhouses in the Big 12. West Virginia's up there now as a powerhouse in the Big 12, if you ask me. So West Virginia, you need to be on upset alert, but I think you guys will win. So give me West Virginia, give me the Mountaineers or the Cyclones. Miami, Florida goes to Virginia. Oregon over Washington, I talked about a little bit ago there. I have that as an upset. Not really going to be that big of an upset. What I think will be the upset of the week, though, will be Virginia over Miami. Miami, the Hurricanes, are coming off a rivalry win over Florida State at home. Now you got to go to Charlottesville, Virginia, a quiet, nice college town. I've been there for a game before. And Penn State, they lost that game because Sam Ficken couldn't kick to save his life. I believe he missed 4 or 5 field goals that game. Like I said, Miami, they're going. So give me the Cavs, give me the Cavaliers over the Hurricanes. What else I have here? I have 2 more games, I believe. Yeah, 2 more games, and then I'll get into my Week 6 NFL predictions. I'll recap Week 5 here real quick. As I said, I'm going to do all my football action in this video today. So thanks for listening. As I said, thanks for sticking with me. I got 2 more games for Week 7 college football predictions, and then I'll get into my Week 6 NFL predictions. Ole Miss goes to Arkansas. This game will be closer than what people think. Arkansas is not bad, but they're not really good either. Give me Ole Miss, if that makes any sense. They're always in a good game. They're always putting up points, but for some odd reason, like, they just can't find a way to win. And I know Chad Morris is in his first year in Fayetteville after Brett Bielema was fired, but Ole Miss, they're just going to be too good. They're just going to be too high-powered for the Razorbacks come Saturday. So give me Ole Miss of Arkansas, and then the big one in the Big Ten. This will be the last college game I'll predict for this week. Wisconsin goes to Ann Arbor to play Michigan in the Big House. Badgers are 6-23 all time at Michigan Stadium, including losing 6 of the last 7. Key matchups in this game: you got Shea Patterson, the quarterback for the Wolverines, going up against Wisconsin's defense. You go back to the Notre Dame game, the only loss for Michigan this year. Patterson returned the ball over. Didn't really have that good of a game in a night game in the one of the biggest games of the weekend. We'll have to see if history repeats itself there. Another matchup, you got Michigan defense going up against Wisconsin running back Jonathan Taylor, who is still my Heisman winner, Heisman prediction at the start of the season. He still had 200 plus yards every game, including the loss to BYU there a couple weeks ago. But no one's talking about him. Everybody's talking about Tua Tagovailoa, the quarterback from Alabama, and rightfully so. Tua, I don't even think he's attempted a pass in the fourth quarter because Alabama's 6-0 and they're routing everybody, and he's throwing for 350 yards and 6 touchdowns in the first half. I can understand if you think Tua at the moment is going to win the Heisman Trophy. He probably will, but I'm still going to stick with Jonathan Taylor to win the Heisman. And key matchup, as I said, him going up against Michigan's defense. Michigan's defense coordinator Don Brown. Michigan normally has a top defense with him at the helm there. Michigan, they are playing at home though. Give me the Wolverines over the Badgers. That's the last college game of the weekend that I am going to predict. I know I just passed the 30-minute mark there for this video, so thanks for sticking with me. As I said, I'll get into some NFL action now. Recap Week 5. I'll get into Week 6. Went 7-8, 27-37-2 on the year. The Kansas City Chiefs and LA Rams are still undefeated. They're both 5-0. The NFL going into Week 7, though, they'll head across the pond to London, England. We'll have the Seahawks and Raiders at Wembley Stadium Sunday at 1 o'clock. Last Thursday, though, for Week 5, the Patriots defeated the Indianapolis Colts at home 38-24. Tom Brady had 3 touchdown passes. The third and final one of that game was his 500th of his career. He is the third quarterback in NFL history to do that. Peyton Manning and Brett Favre are the other 2. One other quarterback in the NFL almost accomplished that feat as well on Monday night. I'll get to him here in a minute. I'm talking about Drew Brees. The Steelers defeated the Falcons 41-17. Antonio Brown outdueled Julio Jones for one of the best. How do I want to put this? A challenge between 2 of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. Antonio Brown had 6 catches, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Julio Jones had 5 catches for 62 yards, but his first catch didn't come until the fourth quarter. The Carolina Panthers defeated the New York Football Giants 33-31 on a game-winning 63-yard field goal by Graham Gano. Panthers, they got lucky. You guys got lucky. The Bills defeated the Titans also on a game-winning field goal, 13-12. The Jets defeated the Broncos at home, 34-16. The Chiefs defeated the Jaguars, 30-14 in that top offensive, top defensive showdown. What else do I have written down here? I have something else written down for one of these games. Looking at my notes. Must have skipped over it. I don't know why the hell I skipped over it. Going back to the Steelers-Falcons game, I have written down Tomlin and Roethlisberger. Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers, and Ben Roethlisberger, the quarterback, have passed the record held by Chuck Noll and Terry Bradshaw for the most wins as a head coach and quarterback tandem in Steeler history. I also have written down here Tomlin defeated Dan Quinn, two former William & Mary assistants, and the Falcons, they have still never won in the Steel City. They are 7-0-1. That tie back in 2002. I don't know if you saw on my Twitter last week. NFL had posted a old video, a recap of the 2002 Steeler-Falcon game. I subtweeted that, quote tweeted that, whatever the hell you want to call it, and said that was, and it is, I know I've probably said it on here before, the first NFL game I ever remember watching. But I just wanted to throw all that in there. The Chiefs defeated the Jaguars. That's where I left off, 30-14. The Lions defeated the Packers, 31-23. Mason Crosby missed 4 field goals and an extra point, looking like Sam Ficken back in 2012. And the Lions won by 8 there. Crosby, he makes those. The Packers win 36-31. But he didn't. They did not cut him, surprisingly, in a lot of people's minds. And he'll be suiting up for the Packers when they host the 49ers on Monday Night Football. And by the way, before I go on any further, before I forget as well, the Thursday night game this week, the Sunday night game this week, and the Monday night game this week are all really, really good. So hopefully you will stay up and watch the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and the Monday night game in the National Football League this year. I know I will be up late watching all those games. The Browns, they picked up their second win of the year, defeated the Ravens 12-9 in overtime. And it's their first win on a Sunday since defeating the 49ers back about 2 weeks before Christmas, December of 2015. Now, a year later, they defeated the Chargers. And now, a couple weeks ago, they won their first game since defeating the San Diego Chargers at the time, the day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. But Christmas was on a Sunday that year, so that game was played on a Saturday. So the Browns-Ravens game, the Browns' victory over the Ravens on Sunday, it was their first win on a Sunday in almost 3 years. Unbelievable. The Bengals, they came back, defeated the Dolphins at home by 10, 27-17. The LA Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers, they defeated the Oakland Raiders 26-10. The Raiders, they joined the Seahawks in not giving Marshawn Lynch the ball at the 1-yard line. That is also unbelievable. The Arizona Cardinals, they picked up their first win of the season. They defeated the San Francisco 49ers 28-18. There are no more winless teams in the NFL. The Vikings went to Philadelphia, got revenge on the Eagles 23-21 from the NFC Championship game last season. The other Los Angeles team, the LA Rams, they went to Seattle, defeated the Seahawks also by the score of 33-31. So two games ended in the same score. The Panthers-Giants 33-31 and the Rams-Seahawks 33-31. The Rams, they're 5-0 now for the first time since 2001. They went to the Super Bowl that year. I'm not saying the Rams are going to the Super Bowl this year. And by the way, they lost to the New England Patriots that year. That was the first of the 3 Super Bowls in 4 years for the Patriots in the early 2000s. 2 of those were won on the toe of Adam Vinatieri. And he plays for the Colts now, has for quite some time actually. You look at it, he's played for the Colts longer than he did the Patriots, and that's hard to believe. And it was funny, he missed a field goal in Foxborough last Thursday night when the Colts played the Patriots. Sunday Night Football then last week, the Texans and Cowboys went to overtime. 19-16 was the score on that. The Texans won that. And then on Monday Night Football, the Saints defeated the Washington Redskins 43-19. As I said, I was going to get in talking about Drew Brees. He ended this game on Monday night with 499 touchdown passes. Would have become the fourth quarterback in NFL history to accomplish the feat of 500 touchdown passes in a career. But up to that point in the game, he had already thrown for 3 touchdown passes, and it was a blowout anyway. The Saints were up on the Skins 43-19, and as I said, that was the final score. But that wasn't the history-breaking moment on Monday night for Drew Brees and the Saints. Most notably Drew Brees, as he broke the all-time NFL passing yards record. He was in third place going into the game, sitting behind Brett Favre, who is in second, who is now in third, and Peyton Manning, who was in first, who is now in second. As Drew Brees passed both of those guys, threw for 201. All he needed was 201 yards to break the record. He did that in the first half. As I said, he had 3 touchdown passes in this game as well. It would have been pretty cool to see him break the NFL all-time passing yards record and hit 500 touchdown passes in his career in the same game, and have them both happen at home in New Orleans. But he got one of the two, and so congratulations to Drew Brees. The Saints will be off this weekend, along with the Detroit Lions for Week 6, and then the Saints will get back into action the following week. They'll go to Baltimore to play the Ravens. The Ravens, they play the who do the Ravens play this week? They play the Tennessee Titans. That's the Dean Pease Bowl, in my opinion. Dean Pease, former defensive coordinator for the Ravens, said he's going to retire, ended up getting back into coaching, took the defensive coordinator job for the Tennessee Titans after Mike Vrabel got that job. But as I said, the Lions and Saints are on byes. The Saints will go to Baltimore in 2 weeks. So we'll have to see if Drew Brees, and he probably will, because he had the NFL record for 54 consecutive games with at least 1 touchdown pass. So we'll have to see if he can get 500 touchdown passes, get 1 touchdown pass in that Ravens game in 2 weeks, and hit 500 for his career and become the 4th quarterback in NFL history to do that. So now I'm going to get into my Week 6 NFL predictions. Thursday night football, the Philadelphia Eagles and New York Giants in the NFC East. Both teams are coming off losses. Eagles lost to the Vikings, Giants lost to the Panthers, and both teams are battling for position right now in the NFC East. No team in that division, along with the Skins, Redskins, or the Cowboys, have a winning record. A lot of people are saying the division is trash at the moment, but it's still early. It's only the middle of October. The NFL will be going on until the end of December, early January for the regular season, and the playoffs will start, and then Super Bowl will be the first Sunday in February, like it normally is. I think it's going to come down to who plays better defense and makes stops late. I think this game will be low scoring, but give me the New York Football Giants at home over the Philadelphia Eagles. As I said, the NFL will go across the pond this week for the first of 3 London games this year. Those games will be, I believe, as Larry the Cable Guy would say, in 3 consecutive weeks. The third one might be later on in the season, but I think for the next 3 weeks, the NFL is going to have 1 game in London. Both teams, they haven't played the way they would have liked so far this season. Maybe if John Gruden would have gave Marshawn Lynch the ball at the 1-yard line last week against the Chargers, maybe they would have won that. You have a 2-game win streak against the Browns and Chargers, but you don't. Now you got to go across the pond. 2 West Coast teams going to England to play a football game. That's going to be really, really tiring on everybody involved. Maybe Gruden will give Marshawn the ball at the 1-yard line this week against Marshawn's old team, the Seattle Seahawks. We'll have to see if that happens. Just throwing that out there, throwing that in there. I think the Raiders, though, they'll find a way to win. They'll defeat the Seahawks on Sunday. The Steelers go to Cincinnati to play the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals coming off a comeback win over the Dolphins. The Steelers defeated the Falcons, who the Bengals also defeated the week before down in Atlanta. So there's a common opponent for both those teams. Now the NFC South is playing the AFC North this year, so all those teams will be playing each other. So you'll have this, Steelers, Falcons. You had Steelers, Buccaneers already. Buccaneers, Falcons, Buccaneers, Bengals, or Steelers, Buccaneers. Sorry. You'll have the Ravens play the Saints. Obviously, in 2 weeks, talked about it. You'll have the Browns play the Saints, so on and so forth. The AFC North plays the NFC South this year. So this game is always fun to watch. Always a good rivalry game. Hopefully, there are no fights. Vontaze Burfict normally gets after the Steeler defense. But last I checked, he's not in Cincinnati anymore. I could be wrong on that. Let me know down in the comments below. I'm drawing a blank there for a second on that. I know I've been talking for a little over 45 minutes now. But the Steelers, they'll find a way to win as well. Last year's game between these two teams in Cincinnati was the game that Ryan Shazier went down with his injury on Monday Night Football. So Pittsburgh is going back to Cincinnati now for the first time since that game. That was the first Monday. I think that was December 4th of last year, first Monday of December. But the Steelers, they'll beat the Bengals on Sunday, mark my words. The Buccaneers and Falcons, two of those NFC South teams, they played this weekend in Atlanta. The Falcons, I think, will bounce back because Jameis Winston's playing quarterback for the Buccaneers now. He's going to start. He played 2 weeks ago against the Bears. The Buccaneers and Bears were off last weekend. And this is all after Fitzmagic earlier in the year, and then that Monday night game against the Steelers for the Buccaneers. That's really where it all started to go downhill. And then they played the Bears, and then Winston came back from suspension. Played a little bit in that game. They had a bye last week, like I said. So Winston will start this Sunday against the Falcons. Going back to that Monday night game for the Buccaneers against the Steelers, yeah, that's where it all went downhill, I believe, for Ryan Fitzpatrick there. But the Buccaneers, they had the Steelers right where they wanted them at, and so did the Falcons at halftime last week in Pittsburgh. But then Pittsburgh ran away with it in the second half. And now you got these two teams playing each other on Sunday. It'll probably be, I believe these two teams played, no, that was Buccaneers and Saints. I was going to say, I believe these two teams played week one. No, that was Buccaneers-Saints. This game will probably be a shootout as well, just like that Buccaneers-Saints game week one. I believe that was 48-41, if I can remember correctly. Give me the Atlanta Falcons. They should have beat the Bengals 2 weeks ago. They had the Steelers right where they wanted them at last week, but they couldn't do anything in the second half. Hell, like I said, Julio Jones didn't even catch a pass until the fourth quarter against the Steeler defense last week. But I'm gonna pick the Falcons over the Buccaneers. The Panthers go to Washington to play the Redskins. The Panthers got lucky last week on a game-winning 63-yard field goal by Graham Gano. But the Redskins, they looked awful on Monday night against Drew Brees and the Saints. So give me the Carolina Panthers over the Washington Redskins. A low-key good matchup, if you ask me, is next. The Colts go to East Rutherford to play the Jets. Give me Andrew Luck and to outperform Sam Darnold. I think both these quarterbacks could potentially have 300 yards passing. This game will be at 1 o'clock on CBS on Sunday. I could also see in this game, though, being really, really low scoring. Like 17-13, 13-10, somewhere in that range. But I think the Colts, they're a little bit better than the Jets. They looked good last week against the Patriots, but they're playing Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So give me the Colts over the Jets. The Chargers come to Cleveland to play the Browns. The Browns coming off a big win in their mind They should have won the week before as well. They lost in overtime to the Raiders. But the Browns, they picked up their second win of the season last weekend against the Ravens in overtime as well. Last Sunday at home, they've played in 3 overtime games so far this season. And the Raven game this past weekend almost ended in a tie because the field goal that was kicked, it was a knuckleball, barely made it through the uprights. It looked like somebody had blocked it, but it was a true knuckleball for a kicker, and that was within the last minute of the game, I believe. So they very well could have tied another AFC North team and would have became the first team in NFL history since 1974 to start the season with 2 ties in the first 5 weeks of the year. But the Chargers, they're just too damn good for the Cleveland Browns. This will be a 10 a.m. Kick for the Chargers as they come east. This game will be at 1 o'clock on Sunday. But L.A., they're like I said, they're just too good for the Browns. I think Phillip Rivers will really show Baker Mayfield what the NFL is all about. But, however, the last time the Chargers visited Cleveland, they were still in San Diego. That was that Christmas Eve game, as I said earlier, talked about earlier, with the Browns picking up their first win up until 2 weeks ago when they beat the Jets. And then, like I said, that game was on a Saturday, and the Browns, picked up the win over the Ravens on a Sunday. But the last time the Chargers came to Cleveland, they lost on a game-winning field goal. So that's probably hanging over their heads. But give me the Chargers over the Cleveland Browns. The Chicago Bears go to Miami to play the Dolphins. This is the Jay Cutler Bowl. The Dolphins, they blew a late lead last week against Cincinnati on the road. Chicago's offense, though, in my opinion, is just too good. So give me the Bears over the Dolphins. The Rams go to Denver to play the Broncos. Maybe this will be Vance Joseph's last game of the season. A lot of people are calling for his head after losing to the Jets last week. He has a record of 7-14 in about a year and a half in Denver. Give me the Rams are 5-0, one of the best teams in the NFL at the moment, along with the Kansas City Chiefs, who go to New England on Sunday night. I'll get to that game here in another 3 games. But give me the Rams or the Broncos. Bears over Dolphins. Said Chicago's offense just too good. You got Mitch Trubisky, who's quietly lighting the league on fire. Had 6 touchdown passes in the one game. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes did that as well. Both those quarterbacks came out in draft class last year, North Carolina and Texas Tech, respectively. But you also have Jordan Howard, Allen Robinson. Chicago's defense led by Khalil Mack, who they traded for from Oakland. Give me the Bears over the Dolphins. Maybe Jay Cutler will make an appearance just because he played for both teams. Probably not, though. I don't think anybody would care to see him anyway, so he's probably just better off staying at home smoking cigarettes like he normally would. And then, as I said, the Rams are 5-0. They're just too good for the Denver Broncos. The Ravens-Titans then play in Nashville on Sunday afternoon. Give me the Baltimore Ravens to bounce back after losing to the Cleveland Browns last weekend. Dean Peasbull, as I said, he was the defensive coordinator for Baltimore for the longest time and then retired. They didn't want him to retire. They were going to extend him. He was actually probably going to be a candidate for the head coaching job if they would have fired John Harbaugh, which they didn't. A lot of people were surprised about that. And now he's in Tennessee. He took over the defensive coordinator job after Mike Vrabel got that job. I talked about it a little bit ago there. think this game will be low scoring, but Baltimore beats Tennessee. Tennessee will lose for the second consecutive week against a AFC team. They lost on a game-winning field goal last weekend against the Buffalo Bills. The Jaguars go to Dallas to play the Dallas Cowboys. This game will be at 4:25 on Sunday afternoon on CBS. The Jaguars coming off the loss to the Chiefs on the road. They got to go on the road again against the Cowboys. Leonard Fournette will not play in this game on Sunday. TJ Yeldon will be getting the ball. The Jaguars also signed Jamal Charles to help back him up. But the Cowboys, they'll find a way to win on Sunday. So give me the Cowgirls over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then Sunday and Monday Night Football, the Chiefs go to New England. The Chiefs, I think they'll suffer their first loss of the young season in Foxborough on Sunday night. New England, they're trying to get back after losing to the Chiefs on opening day in the NFL, the first game of the season last year after the Patriots defeated the Falcons. They opened the season against the Chiefs. That was Kareem Hunt's first game of his career. He ran all over their defense. Now you still have Kareem Hunt running back, but you got Patrick Mahomes, who literally is lighting the league on fire at quarterback. But Belichick, he'll dial up some blitzes to get after the young quarterback and make the Chiefs pay late. Probably throw a pick or two, maybe one return for a touchdown. Who knows? Give me the New England Patriots over the Kansas City Chiefs. So, and then on Monday Night Football, the 49ers go to Green Bay to play the Packers. As I said, the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and the Monday night game are all good in my opinion. This Monday night matchup between Niners and Packers would be great if Jimmy Garoppolo didn't blow his knee out a couple weeks ago in Arrowhead against the Chiefs. But he's out for the year. C.J. Beathard in at quarterback now for the Packers, going up against Aaron Rodgers. Mason Crosby will bounce back. The Packers will win. I'm not going to say he's going to kick a game-winning field goal or anything like that. Maybe he will. Who knows? But Aaron Rodgers will outplay C.J. Beathard, and the Packers will beat the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football next week. So thank you guys for listening. Thanks for liking, following, and subscribing. If you haven't done all that already, be sure to go do so. All the links are in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and Gridiron Ring's website. You've been looking at the picture this entire video, almost an hour. As I said, I did my college football week 7 predictions and my NFL week 6 predictions all in one video today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to those predictions. Next week, I'll be on Periscope, getting back on Periscope, as I said at the beginning of the show today, for SmackDown 1000. Next Tuesday, October 16th, 2018. And then I'll be getting into some more college and NFL football games shortly after that. So again, thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CoolHandLuke96 and at ElGautaStart96 on Instagram. CoolHandLuke96 is Twitter and Periscope. ElGautaStart96 is Instagram. And then Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, and the website for Gridiron Ring. All the links are in the description below. So again, thanks for listening. I will see everybody Tuesday, October 16th on Periscope for SmackDown 1000.